Well, hello and happy Monday. Welcome to Foul Territory. You can tweet at us throughout the day at hashtag FTLive. We have a fantastic show for you coming up. I'm Trisha Whitaker. Thanks for welcoming me onto the show, AJ and Eric. Appreciate your tolerance throughout
Did anybody
these
welcome
next
you?
2 hours.
We didn't welcome you yet.
Off air, AJ welcomed me. Eric has not. Eric has yet to extend the welcome.
No, because of all your awards. All your awards in the background. I can't.
Would you like to count them? Ready? Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, if you guys have awards in the background, I'll have awards in the background.
I have Candy Pop in my background. Do you see it?
You have Candy Pop. You have your jersey framed. Eric, you've got all your bats.
I have not my bats. Guys I played with bats. They're not all mine.
It'd be broken if it was Eric's bat.
It would be broken, but that's another story.
I needed something to compete with you guys. All right. Okay. Guests today, we're going to have Russell Dorsey from the Rally. We're going to have Austin Hayes from the Orioles and Pete Fairbanks from the Rays. And it's going to be a fantastic show. Guys, the weekend, how was it? What'd you do? Tell me everything. Eric, you golfed this morning. How'd it go? Poorly?
Yeah. It went just as well as you would think after not golfing for 8 months. But yeah, that's here nor there. It was fun to get out.
AJ, how about you?
Course? Was it a good course? Where'd you play? The local Muni?
Yeah, it was a local Muni. I mean, when you start at 6:45, you can't get out real quick. But it was a nice 3-hour, 15-minute round. Beautiful. Okay. And an 8 on 18, so that wasn't it.
That's not it. No AJ, did you golf? What'd you do?
This weekend, I was in Detroit. I was watching the Mighty Twins take on the Mighty Tigers in that tough AL Central battle.
Very tough.
And then
competition level off the charts.
It is close. Listen, as I said on the air on Fox on Saturday, they're all not very good, but they're all not very good together. So it's going to be an interesting race because they're all not very good.
Was Ken Rosenthal at that game? I can't believe he wasn't the sideline reporter for that game.
No, he was in London. He was.
He went fish and chips.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to charge the mound and our top news stories. The first one, it was the battle of the win streaks, guys. The Braves and the Reds. Elly De La Cruz hitting for the cycle. That was phenomenal in front of a sold-out crowd. It took him only 15 Major League games to get there. That's insane. I mean, that was incredible to see that moment in front of a Reds fan base that was craving a moment like that, guys.
No, just the fan base. The cycle was awesome. They sold these games out, all three of them. It was unbelievably atmosphere, and they finally lost, which the Braves are really good, by the way, in case you didn't know, and so are the Reds, apparently. But the atmosphere in Cincinnati is back, and you saw videos, of the crowd, which when have you seen videos of a crowd in Cincinnati in the last 10 years? You haven't. So this is great for baseball and one of the original franchises. And, listen, the Reds are back. The excitement is back in Cincinnati, and I can't wait to go to a game there.
I think as somebody that's never hit for the cycle in my career, we established this before. I never even had a triple in the big leagues, so I never had even a career cycle. Him doing it this quick is absolutely crazy. The fact that Eric Davis was the last one to do it, and that's who they're comparing him to, is absolutely crazy. But what I think, because we're going to talk so much Reds, I loved how the Braves stepped up and won the last 2 of these games. After coming back and winning the first game, they showed they are really good. And it almost looked like they turned it up. They're like, wait a minute, this team is actually pretty good, the Reds were playing. We got another level. And they turned it up another level and hit 1 million homers this series.
Yeah, on Sunday, Matt Olson, who was a guest for you guys last week, as I understand it, he moved into a tie for the Major League home run lead. 4 home runs during that 3-game series, including that go-ahead 3-run shot in the 6th of that final win that you were talking about, Eric. He's just unreal right now.
He is. And you come on to the show and you hit 4 homers. I mean, if there's any other hitters out there that just would love to get a couple homers, a couple knocks here or there, he is. Yes, he's a 3 true outcome guy, but he's doing it line to line. He's putting balls on the tap house in Atlanta, and he's going down the line to left in Cincy. It's impressive right now.
Hey, the small park was definitely playing like the small park this weekend.
It was.
The ball was flying everywhere. It was like guys were just tapping balls and they were going way out of the park. And then you talked about Matt Olson. You know why Matt Olson got hot, Tricia? It wasn't because Eric and Scott. It was because Eric's power went out, and I had to do the interview by myself. So
Good.
those
I knew
guys
you
are
were
out.
gonna somehow
Those guys
take
are out.
credit for that.
I'm in.
I knew you were going to somehow take credit for that. It's science. You come on foul territory with Eric and you're going to go out and hit bombs. I want to talk about one guy, though, and you guys can talk about him way more than I can, but Travis d'Arnaud. Okay, so I was with the Rays in 2019. Eric, you were with them for a cup of coffee, and you were with them because d'Arnaud, I believe, got injured. But anyways, d'Arnaud came to the Rays in 2019. He was terrible with the Mets. He had, like, again, a cup of coffee with the Dodgers, I believe it was, and then the Rays signed him. I remember asking Kevin Cash when we signed Travis d'Arnaud that day. I said, so, Travis d'Arnaud, what do you know about him? He goes, absolutely nothing. We just needed a catcher. He went out that season for the Rays, and he was a huge reason why they made the postseason because of his bat. And then he's just become the guy for the Braves. He had a career-high 4-hit game on Saturday against the Reds.
Yeah, and he's a guy that actually had at one point in the season, Cash, the 6 weeks I was there, 5 weeks I was there, we were both hitting like 140. And Cash, I think he might have had like 10 or 15 more at bats than me. And Cash was like, yeah, we're just going to kind of split time here a little bit. They wanted me to keep catching Snell. And they were like, but he's going to get a few more at bats. You understand that, right? I'm like, yeah, he's like 20. He was like 27 years old at the time. I think he had already 6 years in the big leagues.
Yep.
And Chad Mottola gets tons of credit as a hitting coach. He kind of unlocked some stuff because they were together in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays, where he was a prospect originally before he got traded for R.A. Dickey. All that, his career path was crazy, but it really jumped off from the Rays there to where he's at now. And, he doesn't look like he's slowing down at all.
Not a single bit. Not a single bit.
No, they also have Sean Murphy there. Sean Murphy and d'Arnaud are the best catching tandem in Major League Baseball. It's not like Kratz and d'Arnaud, but it's
close.
It's kind of close
It's
there.
close.
I don't know.
I'm a poor man's Murphy. My question was, watching this series, like Murphy smashing balls, having good at bats, coming back from a hamstring injury. Has there ever been a catching tandem who have made the All-Star game, or it just won't happen because there's not enough at bats?
It won't happen.
I'm not saying d'Arnaud will do it, but I'm saying like Murph is going to should be the starting catcher in the
Will
All-Star
Smith
game.
is the problem.
Yeah. Which nothing away from him either, but
Yeah.
both of them are legit.
No, they are. And that's why when the Braves made the trade for Murphy, it was a little bit surprising in the offseason because you already had Travis d'Arnaud, who's won a World Series and done great things for Atlanta. So when they went out and got Murphy, you're thinking, oh, man, what are they doing? But I think d'Arnaud, this is his last year of his deal.
It is.
And the Braves are big time into that, not platooning, but kind of saving catchers-ish. And what also helps them, though, is the DH because they can DH one of the two when the other one isn't catching. So it's a nice problem to have if you're Brian Snitker and the Braves, two really good catchers that both could be all-stars. And the Braves, I mean, they might not be on the Rays level, Tricia, but they are –
they're close.
Really
I would
good.
argue they are on their level. Absolutely. They play the Rays and the Braves play at the beginning of July.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you're going to be there. You're going to be there. We have
Yeah.
Apple TV there. You're going to be there. It's and I think actually if I'm not mistaken, I think that actually might be the weekend that Wade Boggs is being inducted into the Rays Hall of Fame too.
For that one hit he got?
Yeah,
The
his
one home
3,000
run?
Rays Hall of Fame.
3,000.
I
Oh
mean,
heck yeah, the Rays Hall of Fame.
I mean,
It's
he got
happening.
one.
New
He
this
got like
year,
one
Eric.
hit. He got like one hit, Eric, and he kissed home plates, and then he's in the Hall of Fame.
Wade Boggs.
I saw it. It was 3,000th. It was a home run.
3,000.
Is Fred
He got his
McGriff going in there
3,000 hit.
too? Jose Canseco? Are we just getting everybody?
No,
I was-
but Fred McGriff. I just interviewed Fred McGriff this morning, and no, he's not going in the Rays Hall of Fame. The big boy Hall of Fame, he'll be in.
How many weeks do you need to be a Ray to be in the Hall of Fame? Because I think I had 5.5. I think.
I'll push your case to them, Eric. Yeah.
Okay,
for
thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, I'll
Appreciation
push your case.
I mean, we could go Greg Vaughn, right? Well, he was a Ray for a minute.
For a
Wilson
minute.
Alvarez, right? He was a Ray. What about Zambrano? Remember the guy
Victor Zambrano. That's what I was just thinking of.
What about him? I mean, Jason
not
Tyner.
Victor. Carlos Zambrano.
He was a Ray? No.
I thought he was a Ray too. I thought both Zambranos were, but
Oh. Man.
Okay.
mean,
Paco Baldelli, shoe in.
Oh, Jason Tyner had a
Jorge
bobblehead.
Cantu, shoe in.
Toby Hall.
Lord have mercy. You guys
Rich
could go on
Thompson.
about this forever.
Rich Thompson.
Rich Thompson.
I'll
What was
gather a list and submit it to Eric Neander and see what he says.
Thank you,
Is he
Eric.
the one
with
who
a
makes the
K, by the
decisions?
way.
Okay, all right. We're gonna move on from a good series to one of the biggest blowouts we've ever seen. The Angels and the Rockies on Friday. It was, normal score, 7-4. On Saturday, 25-1. The Angels, 13 runs in the third inning, scored 8 in the fourth. This was insane, you guys. I turned on MLB Network expecting to see a good game, and I looked at the score and I'm like, surely that's a graphics typo. That can't be real. It was ridiculous.
Well, it doesn't matter. As Eric and Scott, when Scott's here, say they don't care about run differential. It was one game and it was one loss. And the best part is, forget the 25-1 score. The Rockies won the series and lost the run differential by 20 runs. The farthest, the biggest gap of all time in a 3-game series where a team wins a series. They lost the run differential by 20 and they still won 2 out of 3. So I don't know if that's good for the Rockies or bad for the Angels or something, but that one game was pretty special. 13 runs in the one inning. It was fun.
No, that's not the best part. The best part, and I should have taken a picture of it, I had a free MLB parlay, and I needed the strikeouts. No, I didn't need the strikeouts for that game. Basically, you had to put together like a 4-leg parlay for free from BetMGM, and all I needed was Shohei Ohtani to get a single base. Everybody else on the team had multiple hits that started the game. Shohei, nada.
He had one. He was 1 for 7. 1 for 7.
I needed 2.
Oh,
I needed
okay.
2. I needed 2 total bases from him. Everybody had 2 total bases I could have picked for the parlay. Everybody. And I didn't get it.
Okay, well, what's the biggest blowout you've ever been a part of, AJ? Can you remember? I mean, what in the world is a clubhouse like after that? What do you do?
You don't care, really. The only time I could ever remember one really hurting, 2002 ALCS, Anaheim, Twins Anaheim. Adam Kennedy hit 3 home runs. I know. I'm still in shock. We gave up like a 10 spot. We were down 3-1 in the series. We were winning going to the 7th inning, I believe. And first and second, Johansson 10 on the mound. You're thinking, all right, we're in a good spot. Adam Kennedy doesn't get a bunt down, then proceeds 0-2 to hit a 3-run homer. And they go on to score, I think, 10 or 11 runs in that inning. That's the worst inning by far I've ever been a part of. I literally walked off the field, and Gardenhire was our manager, and he looked at me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I just walked into the clubhouse. I was like, I quit. I quit because we're done. And he's like, okay. And, I obviously didn't, but I stayed out there. And but that was the worst inning I could ever remember.
Oh,
10
that sounds
runs.
awful. Eric, you have one?
I mean, we talked about this earlier, and my kids actually asked me during that game if I'd ever been a part of a game that many runs were scored. And I don't think so. I'm sure we can look at it somewhere. I never found it. But, man, you just think the best thing, anytime I ever saw someone else give up that many runs, because I watched more games than I played in, I would just say, hey, bro, like, you need to ice your fingers. Like, your fingers were bad that day. Like,
For real.
They knew what was coming. 13 runs, 10 in a playoff game, that's tough too. But, man, 13 runs.
My favorite thing, Eric, about it is you mentioned Ohtani was 1 for 7. There's always one guy that's got to make the outs. Even the Gator game, the Florida Gator LSU game was 24-4. Luke Heyman, 0-for. There's always one guy in there.
You went 0-for?
You went 0-for. It was 24-4. There's always one guy that goes 0-for because someone's got to make all that. And everyone else is like, man, what a great day. I got 4 hits, and I got 3 hits, and I got 4 hits. And then there's that one guy in the corner who's like,
race to the bat rack.
I got 0.
Yep.
Okay, it's time for our first poll question of the show. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to your browser and type in watchstadium.com/foul territory to play along. The question is, what kind of game do you prefer to watch? A low-scoring pitcher's duel, a high-scoring slugfest, or something in between? That is the question. Do either of you guys have a preference? No? Okay, we'll get to it when we come back.
Pitcher's duel.
Pitcher's duel. Okay, there's a nice little tease ahead. Pitcher's duel. I'm going to say slugfest. All right, we're taking a quick break. We'll be back on Stadium next. Russell Dorsey from the Rally is around the corner, and we're going to talk all things baseball, including Freddie Freeman, next.
June 26th, and here's a look back at this day in baseball history. It was on this day in 1944 when over 50,000 fans flooded the Polo Grounds to witness a unique three-way six-inning matchup featuring the New York Yankees, Brooklyn Dodgers, and New York Giants. Organized as a fundraiser for war bonds, the game was a rotating carousel of innings, with each team playing against the other two and then sitting out an inning. The Dodgers emerged victorious with 5 runs, leaving the Yankees with 1, and the Giants scoreless. Fast forward to June 26, 1974, when future Hall of Famer and Yankees captain Derek Jeter was born in Pequannock, New Jersey. Jeter went on to become a 5-time World Series champion and was selected to 14 All-Star games. 20 years later, on this very day in 1994, Kirby Puckett etched his name into the Minnesota Twins record books. Securing 3 hits in one game, Puckett surpassed the legendary Rod Carew to become the franchise's all-time hits leader with his 2088th hit. He finished his career with 2,304 hits and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2001. On June 26, 1997, Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres ignited the crowd with an inside-the-park grand slam in the 7th inning. Gwynn's feat not only catapulted him back over a .400 batting average for the season, but also marked the first inside-the-park grand slam in the National League in over 6 years. And now, back to foul territory.
In seconds.
I'm enjoying this, Eric. I think you should be a producer next.
God could. Patient. 3, 2.
Welcome back to Foul Territory. Thanks for joining us. I'm Trisha Whitaker with AJ Brzezinski and Eric Kratz. And now it is time to welcome in the one and only Russell Dorsey from The Rally. Usually Russ is the one welcoming me into The Rally. It's exciting to be able to put him on the spot instead of him putting me on the spot. Russ, hello. How are you?
Hi, Trisha. AJ, Kratzy, what's going on, guys?
Hanging out.
Just watching how professional, Trisha has become over the years, from
Over the years.
Over the years, she's got the cheap plug over her shoulder. You got the Jordans over your shoulder, Russ. She's got all her local Emmys she got from the St. Pete chapter of the Emmy Award winners.
Those are national Emmys. Don't hate on them.
They are national Emmys, AJ.
Here's my thing, AJ. Like one of my goals is to have an Emmy, so I can't hate on Trisha's Emmys.
Okay, understood. But I understand that, Russ. I understand. I have one though. They didn't give me a trophy though. They just said we won. I never got a trophy.
So you
Oh, that's
have
why.
part one? I want a
Wait,
Tony.
what's it for?
All I want is a Tony.
I'm a Tony. My name's Anthony. That's cool.
Okay.
What is the Emmy for? What show did you get the Emmy for?
2013 NLCS pre and post game. We won a national Emmy.
That
Okay.
Emmy is more
Dope.
for the producer for putting up with you than anything else.
That's fine.
Would you rather have the Emmy or the Silver Slugger that's behind you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean that thing's way cooler. You know what else is cool? Because it lists all the dudes that won it that year with you, and you know who won it? I mean, Mike Trout, Prince Fielder, Robinson Cano, Derek Jeter, but there's one on there. That was the year Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown, so that one's a special one.
There you go.
Oh, that's
There
dope.
you go.
That's dope.
That is dope. Okay, you know what else is dope? That would be Freddie Freeman. He's pretty dope. I hate that word. I'm never going to say dope again. I'll leave you to
like
that.
how it came
It's-
out.
I
It's
don't
pretty
like it
dope.
at all. It sounds
Whoa.
so like early 2000s. We just showed our age. Anyways, that is all.
We?
Freddie Freeman. Yeah, I'm lumping you into that, Russ.
Russ is
Freddie
young.
Freeman, 2,000 hits. That's pretty incredible, Russ. How impressive was that, becoming the 295th player in Major League history with 2,000 hits and the 7th to get there wearing a Dodgers uniform?
No, it's I think pretty cool when you consider what Freddie Freeman has been able to do since he got to the big leagues with Atlanta. And you think about all the guys that have played in the big leagues. And it's really hard to hit in the major league. I think AJ would agree with that. I think Eric would agree with that. But I think for Freddie, you start to look at him historically and say, all right, he's going to be 34 years old before the season's over. He doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. And then now that you've gotten to 2,000, you start to look at 3,000. And I believe it's well within reach if he's able to keep up this level of production.
Yeah, because he stays on the field. And I know nothing. We talked about this when Kutch got his 2000th. I did nothing 2,000 times in the big leagues. Maybe I played 2,000 innings, caught 2,000 pitches. AJ knows about getting 2,000. He stays on the field.
Yeah.
And like, that's what we always say. It's always like, well, you know, barring injury, this guy stays on the field. My thing about his 2,000 hits, it shows you don't have to have a like conventional type of swing. It's a very unconventional swing. At the same time that Jason Hayward came up with the same team around that same time, and Hayward was more of that like, you know, grooved type of same swing and less adjustability, and you see where they've both gone.
Yeah, and I think you look at it, it's one of the more iconic batting stances over the last 10 years. It's a guy that really knows how to hit. Obviously, when you get to 2,000 hits, you can swing it a little bit. And then you think about where he has been since he won MVP in 2020. He's gotten better, right, since that time. And you look at it now, I think he's going to finish somewhere between 180 and 200 hits this season. Let's say he finished the season with 2,083 hits, right? That doubles up what he did in the first half. He needs 917 hits to get to 3,000. If he averages 170 hits over the next 5 years, he gets there. And I know with first baseman, it's hard to get into the Hall of Fame. And you're either a big Hall person or you're a small Hall person. But I think the thing that benefits Freddie is that Jeff Bagwell made it into the Hall of Fame. For everybody out there, Jeff Bagwell had 449 homers and 2,314 hits. I think Freddie's going to get somewhere near 400, maybe even eclipses it, but he's going to be somewhere close to between 2,800 and 3,000 hits when he's done playing, and that'll definitely get him in there. And then they also won the World Series in 21 with the Braves. He performed well in that playoff run for them. And I really think when it's all said and done, Freddie's going to get his way into Cooperstown.
I played with Freddie. He was a. Oh wait, sorry. What are these? Wait. Oh, what is this one? Says what? Oh, congratulations. Oh, Trisha has. Oh, on 2000. Oh wait, what is this? Oh, 2000. Sorry. Just, you know, since we're all humble bragging over here, you know, let's humble brag with our trophies. Listen, I played with Freddie for 2 full years in 15 and 16. And one thing I'll say about Freddie, he's always had a unique swing. And you hear the stories about him taking BP. I mean, he is left field. Never really tries to pull the ball in BP. And the one thing Freddie has the ability to do, which most big guys don't, is he will take the single to left field. He will take a ball and 2 strikes, literally go and just flip it to left field. That's why they couldn't shift on him. And if you watch the game last night, his first hit was that hit. Ball away, 2 strikes. He just goes, boop, hits it down the left field line, double, right? For me, he's a Hall of Famer because he doesn't get hurt, really. He plays every day, so he's going to rack up the numbers. He's got an MVP. He's got a World Series. He's the face of the Braves for a long time. Now him and Mookie are kind of the face of the Dodgers. So I don't know why there's an argument about it. And as far as the 2,000 hits, man, congratulations, Freddie. I love you. You're a great teammate, and you matured a lot since the days when I played with you. And it's nice to see you the way you are now, because you know there were times with Freddie, he was still young, but he could always hit. He was a good teammate, and he always showed up. So congratulations, Freddie.
I'm gonna ask you guys something, because you look at Freddie in the last 10 years at first base, and another guy who was on the other side of that, Joey Votto, right? Joey has over 2,000 hits. And you look at what he was able to do and what he kind of represented in his time when he was in his prime. Another guy that already has an MVP award. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of writers who vote on guys going into the Hall of Fame. I don't have a vote for another 6 years or so. So I'll probably be voting for Freddie when he's on the ballot. But there's a lot of people out there that think Joey Votto is going to end up getting into the Hall of Fame because he represented a time where on-base percentage mattered, right? And he was kind of that first wave of guys were just like, nah, I'm going to get on base at a 440 clip. Do you guys look at Joey and say, this is a future Hall of Famer?
I think so. I'm not a huge walk my way to the Hall of Fame. But like you said, Joey Votto was the guy that kind of started that revolution. So I think he'll get in. Again, he's got MVP. He's been on some good teams. He's never won yet. But the writers love him. They love him. And the new age writers really love Joey Votto. So he'll get in just on the fact that because of some of the old wave, as you know, the voting changes over the years. And if you look at the way the voting has even shifted, because originally Scott Rowland was like, no chance he's getting in.
Right.
But now with the new wave writers, they look at defense, they look at all a bunch of different things. That's why there's so many different. And Andrew Jones, who has always thought is no way he'll get in, he's probably going to get in. So I think Joey Votto goes in probably, he'll probably retire before Freddie, so he'll go in before Freddie. But they're going to both definitely, in my opinion, be in.
I think what is tough for Joey, as I look at it, has always been he's not going to have the quote unquote counting stats that other guys are going to have. He's not going to be close to 3,000 like Freddie will be. He won't have close to 500 home runs or anything like that. But you look in his prime, won MVP. He got on base at a crazy clip. He was the best first baseman during his prime. Yeah, I think you look at a guy who averaged maybe a 420, 430 on base percentage in those years with the Reds, where they were going to the playoffs with Brandon Phillips and those guys. But at the same time, you look at the all-around player that Joey was. I do think that matters for people. And you talk about the younger writers, the next generation of writers and reporters that look at the all-around game. And I think you'll see that a lot of them feel like Joey Votto is deserving because of what he represented in his generation of first baseman.
Yeah.
Eric, you think that's the case?
No, I do. And I think he, like AJ said, he's kind of ushered that in. I think there's such similarities, and yet, everyone's going to go with, the WAR up until, a certain point with the base hits and all this stuff. I mean, Votto's got 345. I don't think he's 345 homers. I don't think he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer. I think he will be looked at in like it'll take, can you be on the ballot for 10 years? And then
10 years.
I think he'll be more like a 3 to 5 year range of being on the ballot and get voted in because of what he does. If he hangs around the Reds long enough, I think there's something to that, like, hey, you played with the same team, you were part of this, part of the rebuild, and then you went back to the playoffs again with this team. So I think there's some mystique. I don't know what that value is, but it gets you votes.
Yeah, for sure. I look at Joey in the same way you do, Chris. He was like, I think it'll take him a little bit longer. I think Freddie will probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Votto will have to be a guy that generates momentum and then gets in. And that's fine. Like, if you end up in the Hall of Fame, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't really think anybody looks at it like, oh, he was a first ballot. Oh, it took him 10 tries. I'm in Cooperstown. And that's all that really matters.
Why? Why though? Why does it matter? Why, Russ? Why? If you get in on your 10th time, why don't you get it on the first time? That's one thing about this process. The whole process is flawed for me as a player, but we could have a whole show on why it's wrong and why people that vote on it don't half the time know what they're talking about. But why? If you can't get on your first time, why do you used to get 15 years? Why do you have to build momentum? Your numbers don't change over that time.
Yeah.
Why?
So this is a great conversation. This one we could talk about for an hour on the voting process and who votes for who and why. You have to be a part of the Baseball Writers Association of America for 10 years before you get a Hall of Fame vote. And I think that's important because there's an entire era of baseball players that I didn't get to watch, right? So I think for me, I should be able to vote for this generation of players, right? I'm going to be able to vote for guys like Freddie when he's eligible, and Pujols when he's eligible, and all these different guys. That's the era of baseball. Not only did I grew up watching, but I watched as a reporter, right, where I had a more keen eye to what really mattered. I shouldn't have been able to vote for like Bagwell and Konerko and those guys in like late 90s, early 2000s that I didn't get to watch. So I think that's fair. When it comes to the calculus and who gets in, who doesn't get in, I think sometimes you got to think about you only get a certain amount of votes on a ballot, right? And so if I don't vote for a guy this year, it's not because I don't think he's deserving, but if I know that this guy has 9 more years on the ballot and this guy only has 1 more year on the ballot, and I really think this guy should get in, should I vote for that guy over the guy who has 9 more years of eligibility?
I mean, listen,
I think that's how
you're a
people
Hall
look
of
at
Fame.
it.
If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. And
I'm with you.
I get it. So then it comes down to, so then think about it like this. Then it comes down to more. And again, I hate, we're just so deep right now about this, but it comes down to when you go on the ballot, because you look at it and you say your first year on the ballot, there's weaker years to be on than other years. And some guys, I make the case for Johnny Damon. He had 2,800 plus hits and got like 40 votes. Didn't even get to stay on the ballot a second year because the first year he was on the ballot was so heavy, he didn't get the required votes. See? So, but then if he would have been on probably a year later, he probably could have maybe started to gain momentum. But we could do 5 hours on this.
You could do a whole podcast on this, and if we keep talking about it, it's going to take up the rest of the time, because honestly, though, there's not one way that's going to make everybody happy. But I agree with AJ, it is a little bit flawed. But
what did Kratz's what is that top star award?
What are we looking at?
Is that like your Little League Coach of the Year award?
Oh, this I didn't even know that was on the screen. MVP of the AAA All-Star game. I figured we were pulling out awards.
Oh, what is that?
It's neat. AAA. It's a league, and
they have an All-Star game.
They have an All-Star game where the best AAA guys who weren't quite good enough to go to the big leagues.
My gosh!
Where half of the Braves rotation was to start the year.
Speaking of the Braves, let's move on to the Braves before we get too deep into this Hall of Fame conversation. The Braves are on a tear right now. They're on a 2-game winning streak, but before that, they were on quite the winning streak. And Russ, we were just talking about it before you got on, and I can't remember if it was AJ or Eric who posed the question. They were like, are the Braves right up there with the Rays, in terms of their dominance right now? And I said, absolutely. But what are you seeing from them, Russ?
I 100% think they should be in the conversation with the Tampa Bay Rays for being the best team in baseball. And I understand the Rays, like, you're not going to find a bigger supporter of what the Rays been doing than me. Like, to be good at, swinging the bat and pitching, and you have a lockup guy and Pete Fairbanks in the back end, that's a good problem to have when you're just good at everything. But the Braves are 32-18 in their last 50 games. That's insane. And you think about last year when they went on a crazy run in the second half of the season. They were 78-34 after June 1st last season. That's 700 baseball, guys. They've continued to play that level of baseball, which is really hard to do. And in that division that we all thought was going to be good, it hasn't necessarily been as good as we thought, even though the Phillies are starting to really turn it on here as of late. But I look at the Braves and I say, last year, they ran into a Phillies team that just got really hot, right? Got knocked out of the playoffs. I think you look at it this year, they don't even have Max Fried back yet. They don't have Kyle Wright back yet, and they're still able to swing the bat at an elite level and kind of tread water with their rotation. And when you do get those guys back, that's going to be like a trade deadline acquisition, where now you can go into July, August, and September and feel really good about yourself going to the playoffs this year. And I don't think they're going to get caught off guard by somebody when they get to the postseason. I think you're looking at a Braves team that can go on a really long run.
Maybe not even just this year. A long run,
right.
A long run going on. I said it before you got on here. I felt like, and I want to see what you think, I felt like as I watched that series this weekend, which I didn't miss a single game of those 3 games, like a lot of people, I felt like the Braves turned it up a notch. As hot as they were playing, they were like, whoa, this Reds team is really good. We're going to have to turn it up. And they did. And it was like, whoa. It just looked like they were having better at-bats and better, they were hit. It was impressive to me.
No, that was a fantastic series. And I hope people didn't miss it in Cincinnati, because that was fun baseball. That was playoff baseball. Like what you saw from the Cincinnati Reds on Friday night, obviously Ellie De La Cruz hitting for the cycle. You had Joey Votto hitting 2 bombs in that game. That's a team that really wants to win and is starting to believe in themselves that they can do damage. But then if you're the Braves, you're like, all right, these kids can play a little bit. We're going to show them, hey, if you want to be at this level, you want to play with the big boys, this is what you have to do. And I think for the Braves, they just have an ability, like you said, to turn it on. But at the same time, the depth that lineup has, where, you could have Sean Murphy carry the team for 2 weeks, or like he did earlier in the season. You can have a superstar in Acuna that is probably going to go 30-50 this year. Insanity. Matt Olson tied for the big league in homers. You got Marcell Ozuna, who's kind of bounced back at the plate. Then you got Travis d'Arnaud hitting a couple homers in a game. Like, there's nothing that they don't do well offensively. And you look at what they've been able to do in terms of their shortstop position, because nobody coming into the season, is it going to be Orlando Arcia? Is it going to be Vaughn Grissom after Dansby Swanson signed with the Chicago Cubs? And Orlando Arcia has come in, and he's a borderline all-star this year. Like, you look at the numbers that he's putting up offensively, outs above average, defensive run save, whatever metric you want to look at defensively, he has been one of the best shortstops in the National League. So you look at the trade deadline coming in a couple of weeks, there's not really a ton of things that the Braves need. Everybody's going to add bullpen help, and if you're a playoff team like the Braves, that's probably what they're going to add. It's what they've added the last couple of years at the deadline. But it's not a team with a lot of flaws right now. And if you're Alex Anthopoulos, you're feeling really good about what you've done to put your team in a position to win.
Russ, the other team, you are all talking about Braves, but the Reds, they play the Orioles starting today. And our own Todd Frazier is on the call, which I can't wait to listen to, because there's a good chance he might not make it through a couple innings without dropping an F-bomb or two, which I'm looking forward to, because he's going to go hometown, go Reds, I'm a Reds lifer, hero. Oh, wait, he played for 12 other teams, but that's okay. So these are two young, super duper young teams on the rise. Yeah. Who would you take stock in for the long haul, Orioles or Reds?
Over the long haul, my gut tells me the Reds. Now, I love what the Baltimore Orioles have done. I've loved the core that they've put together. You look at Adley behind the plate and what he's going to represent at the catching position for the next decade. I love Anthony Santander. He's one of the most underrated players in the game, as well as Cedric Mullins. They've done a good job bringing guys in. Like Aaron Hicks has been a different player since he's come over to Baltimore from the Yankees. They need a little bit of starting pitching. But I really like what they have at the big league level right now. I'm interested to see what they do with the deadline. When I look at the Reds, it's going to just be wave after wave after wave of young players. And the thing to me that the Reds have been able to do well, they've been able to hit on their first-round draft picks, right? You look at Jonathan India, Nick Senzel, Matt McClain, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo. All those guys are first-round picks that are helping their big league club right now, right? Like, there are a lot of teams around the big leagues that don't draft well in that first couple of rounds, and that affects the product that you see. And then you have to go out in free agency and you got to spend. And for a team like the Reds that don't necessarily have the capital that other teams do, you have to be able to scout, draft, and develop. So I love what the Reds have been able to put together. I think this is a really fun series because you're seeing two young teams that are trying to learn how to win on the fly. And I did a story last week on the Texas Rangers and how they haven't been to the postseason since 2017. And I asked Bruce Bochy last week. He's won 3 World Series titles, in San Francisco with the Giants. And you bring in Corey Seager and you bring in like a guy like a Will Smith who won in Atlanta with the Braves. Do you worry about guys not knowing how to win yet? Or because you bring in some players, are you not worried? And he said, look, yeah, you bring in a Seager, you bring in a Will Smith. Those guys are going to be your vets in the room, even Marcus Semien being in the league for so long. But you do have to get over that hump, right? You do have a team in front of you in Houston that's been the class of the American League for the better part of the last decade. And until you do it, you don't know you can do it yet. So you're going to see some of these young teams. Arizona's going to have to do the same thing and learn how to win.
Russ, we love you. Thank you so much for your time. You can watch Russell Dorsey on The Rally during the week on your Bally Sports Regional Sports Network. Russ, we appreciate the insight.
Thanks, guys.
See you in Wrigley this weekend, Russ.
Thanks, Clark.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back on Stadium, we are going to pop off, and you're not going to want to miss it because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait to show you the video around the corner. We'll be right back.
All right, first of all, Poppy's tip, he was talking about a number that started with a 5, but was a lot bigger than 50 cents. Second, the fact that they got that chain out to me is something of a miracle. I will never forget this. When it went down the grate, and I saw it come off his neck and go into the grate, into the sewer, underneath London, it came off because he had not locked it properly. But anyway, this grate, it looked to me like it had been sealed going back to the Tudor dynasty, like hundreds of years. I was thinking, there's no way they're going to get that grade up. And the sewer wasn't particularly deep. It was kind of shallow. So I thought, okay, if they can get in there, yeah, maybe there's a chance. So we all go to dinner. Poppy's just hoping things are going to work out, as they often do work out for him. And we get to the dinner, and before the first course is even served, Poppy hears from the hotel. He gets those videos that we saw. All is well. And the key, at least in his mind, the hotel worker that you saw in the video, the guy who rescued Big Poppy's $100,000 necklace, which of course he announced to the world on our broadcast, Poppy claimed that guy was Dominican. And of course, that to him explained everything. So anyway, it's a lot of fun traveling with these guys. And for me, I always say this, and I can't say it enough. It's a real privilege to be part of these broadcasts, especially the special ones like the London series, postseason, of course, Field of Dreams, all of those kinds of games in particular. It's a thrill to be part of every broadcast. I'm grateful for every inning I'm on. But to be in this particular circumstance, it makes you remember quite vividly why you do this, why you get excited about it, just the fun of it all. And Big Poppy, well, he got his necklace back, so all is right with the world.
Welcome back to Foul Territory. Trisha Whitaker alongside AJ Przinsky and Eric Kratz. The first poll results are in, and the majority of you would rather watch the Slugfest. We have some reactions to that than a pitcher's duel, which actually I would agree. I would rather watch the Slugfest than the pitcher's duel. All right, it's time for our second poll question of the show. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to your browser and type in watchstadium.com/foul territory to participate. The question is, the hardest NL team to beat in the postseason will be the Reds, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, or the Braves, or somebody else? That's a good question right there. I can't wait to get into that later. Okay, now it's time to pop off, presented by Cookie and Candy Pop. This is wild. This video is absolutely wild because it is a brawl in the minor leagues. It did happen back in April, but we want to talk about it because it's insane, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it really is self-explanatory as the first punch is thrown. And that coach right there, Tampa Tarpons are the blue team, and the Phillies Clearwater Threshers are the red team. And it is a very minor league brawl. AJ didn't spend a ton of time in the minor leagues, but this is what I saw when brawls would happen. The lower the level, the more, I don't know if it's the guys are just younger and immature, if they just don't realize that somebody could actually get hurt in these games. But like guys at younger levels of the minor leagues, whether it's young Dominican players, whether it's young high school, just out of college guys, whatever it is, like you guys got to be able to figure it out. And like somebody can really get hurt. You can derail your career, all you've put into it, and you can just derail it. But I see AJ
Looks like
for
AJ
all the
does not
podcast
agree.
people. AJ's giving me the crying emoji.
They could get hurt.
But
Fight.
the one
Let's
thing,
fight.
AJ,
the one thing that I love about it is they actually fought, because I can't stand when guys are just, they just toe up, they just bow up to each other and they're face to face. Like, do something. Like, they wait till somebody gets in between them and then they're pushing. No, it was Threshers guy standing there, coach standing there, and he was like, nope, we're just going to do this right now. He went bop, and I couldn't tell if the coach who was standing there went to go punch the guy that punched him, or if he actually was willing to just punch the other dude first, and then he was ready, because they were ready. And you got to go into those situations thinking, I'm going to punch somebody, because if you don't, then you get punched like that, and you're like, well, I didn't think it was going to escalate like this.
AJ, why are you shaking your head? Why'd you
Okay,
say
so
fight?
we just did a poll on sluggers, slugfest, pitchers duel, something else. You know what game I want to watch? The one where two teams punch each other. That's the game I want to see. So let's put that on the poll, because then the next game and the next game and the next game, there's always the threat that somebody's going to punch someone else. So let's talk about that game. Teams play all the time. These teams are separated by not very far.
Nope.
And they're in the minor leagues, and it was coaches fighting. Where's my future boss Rachel at in this thing? Was she okay? Because I don't want her getting hurt, because she's going to hire me as manager when she's GM. So let's check on her.
I didn't see Rachel Balkovec.
You don't
on that.
want her getting hurt, but you're cool with players getting hurt?
Yeah,
What if
because she's
somebody
my future
seriously
boss.
gets
She
hurt
told me-
and affects the rest of their career, AJ.
Yeah, well, if she gets hurt, it affects my career. See how this works? It's all about-
Selfish nonsense. No, you are eliminated from this discussion. That's nonsense.
Let's run a new poll.
nonsense.
Let's run a new poll. Do you want to see the fight, or do you want to see a game with no fights? I guarantee the fights wins the poll.
You can fight, but don't actually harm each other that much. That was a serious fight right there. Seriously.
I know. That was
AJ,
what's great.
that mentality is way too old school for me. I'm cool with a little old school, but that mentality is way too old school for me. You can't actually get hurt like that. That's terrible.
AJ completely agrees. And the fights that he understands that people can get hurt. The fights he got in, how many punches did you see AJ throw?
I ate one. I guess you want to call it a punch.
You ate one, but
John
I think he was
Mabry in that
smart.
fight ended up in the hospital. John Mabry ended up in the hospital in that fight.
Yeah.
He
AJ
ended
was
up
the
being my
guy,
coach later.
Eric, AJ was the guy that you were talking about that just like pretends to throw punches and like doesn't actually do it. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Hey,
I'm
don't
not
label
saying
me.
he's
There was
that
a guy on
guy.
the Rays. There's a guy on the Rays that was very famous for being around the outside of the circle after the fights were done. He used to have a ponytail, and he used to.
Sean Rodriguez.
Oh,
Sean
you said
Rodriguez
it.
Oh
punched.
my goodness.
He
All
punched
right,
that
let's-
Gatorade.
Not me.
Visit cookiepopcandypop.com and enter the code FOULBALL for 20% off. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We will be back on Stadium next with our locks of the days. AJ and I may continue to fight. He'll pretend he throws punches. It'll be wonderful. We'll see you when we come back.
Here's some scenes from around Major League Baseball from yesterday. And now, back to foul territory.
All right, welcome back to Foul Territory alongside Eric Kratz and AJ Brzezinski. I'm Trisha Whitaker, and the poll results from the second poll They are in. The question was, the hardest NL team to beat in the postseason will be the Reds, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Braves. And the first place was Braves and then the Diamondbacks. That seems like a pretty solid result there, guys. All right, let's take a look at your Friday locks with BetMGM. What happened this Friday? Well, Layla didn't fare so well, but that's all right. Eric and Todd, they did pretty well. And let's take a look at your money bags as well. Eric is up 270 and AJ is down 1,500. All right, here are our locks of the day. I am putting down 100 to win 115. I'm not actually doing it. Let me just make that clear. This is hypothetical. I'm putting down 100 to win 115 on the Reds. Guys, what are you doing?
I'm gonna let Kratz go first. He's hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with and Layla. I gotta say, Layla from the Friday locks. Eloy was on the show and earlier before that, and her home run lock didn't hit, but he was 3 for 4. He was pretty much the only one that hit for the White Sox that day. So she was really close to it, but not so much. Today, I am going with my parlay. I'm going to the White Sox Angels game. I need Detmers and Cease to get 6 or more strikeouts. That's paying at plus 110. Both of them in the last 10 games have 7 games of over 6 strikeouts. So I'm hoping this isn't one of the duds. Both teams strike out a lot, and I'm looking for a lot of punchies. I don't care what the score is. Just need 6 from both of them, and I'm putting 300 down to win 330. And it's real money.
I'm going to the same game because I'm a homer and I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm taking the White Sox money line for 100. Cease is pitching. They're hot. They just beat the Red Sox in a series. The White Sox are hot. So I'm taking the White Sox and Cease just to straight up beat the Angels in Anaheim.
You are such a homer.
He is.
Limited action today. I was going to go this big parlay where I did the strikeouts. Like I was going to do the White Sox win, Cease strikeouts over 6, and Rhett Detmers over 4. It was plus 300. But then I figured we'd confuse Trisha, so I just went straight money line.
Well, you figured right. You absolutely figured right. Eric, you said that's your beer money. Is that what you said?
No, I said it's real money.
Oh,
it's
I
real
thought
money.
you said yours beer money.
I said yours isn't real money. Mine is real money. But AJ, we've tried to teach him, and he just can't get away from it. If he picks, listen how this will work, Trisha. If he picks the Angels to win, then it's probably the smart money. He wins the money, and then the White Sox, yeah, they lose, but he wins money and he feels good about it. Now, when the White Sox lose, he loses, the White Sox lose, and it's just, I hope it works out for you, AJ. I really
It's
do.
so much more fun to win twice, though, instead of once.
That's fair. You're doubling down. I like that.
You guys pulled out all your athletic trophies earlier. This is mine. This is my only athletic trophy I have, and it's a medal from a half marathon this off season. I just had to pull that.
It's out of
Okay,
You
fish.
guys pulling out all your athletic
What was that?
achievements.
The
and me
Keys?
having
What was
nothing.
that?
This was in Stewart, Florida, over in West Palm.
At Marlins Park? Did you get? Is
No,
that what that is?
It looks like it.
Is that the statue?
That's a sailfish, FYI. That's a sailfish.
Sailfish. It's a sailfish, and no one will be told my time because it was very poor.
Hey, you finished. Half marathon is legit.
It's horrible. It's terrible. Why do people run those all the time? Running is punishment.
I
Why
ran
would
a
you do
half
that?
marathon after I biked 56 miles and after I swam for 1.2. So half
that a-
marathons are simple.
That's like a triathlon or something, right?
My friend, I have a
Oh.
friend who once got bet by his friends, didn't train, and had to eat McDonald's, and then he went out and ran a marathon and finished it. I don't know the exact story, but he honestly had to eat a Big Mac or something before,
Oh my god!
and then he ran the marathon and completed it with no training, just did it. And
A
made it.
full marathon or a
Yeah.
half marathon?
No, full. I believe it was a full marathon.
No way. There's no way that you can run a full marathon without training for it.
You can do it. You can do it.
I
It's
do
mental.
not believe you. I do not believe
We're
you.
athletes, Trisha. We're baseball players. We're
You
athletes.
guys are insane. All right. It's BetMGM, swing for the fences. How to get this offer in 3 easy steps. You can log into BetMGM Sportsbook app on your iPhone or Android. You can play the BetMGM MLB free-to-play game. You can be a batter and pick an area of the strike zone. Depending on the area of the strike zone you pick, you will get single, double, triple, or home run, or pop out and receive the prize associated with that type of hit. It's played once a day, and pricing must be used on MLB, and it expires in 24 hours. All right, our home run picks. What are they, guys? Tell me.
Spencer Steer at plus 425.
Ooh.
He's going up.
AJ?
He's been swinging a hot bat, and the O's are throwing up Cole Irvin up there. So I need to see, a little righty lefty John. So Spencer Steer plus 425. I'm addicted to the high money. I don't want to take the easy picks.
Oh, boy.
I'm going because of my homerism. I'm going Burger Bomb, baby.
Ooh, I
Burger
like that.
Bomb against the little lefty. Going to try and cut one in. He's going to drop the head.
We love it.
I mean, it's too easy to go Lou Bob, so I can't go Lou Bob. So I'm going to go Burger Bomb.
All right, that's all for us on Stadium, but come join us on YouTube because we'll be back with a whole lot more on YouTube and a whole lot more to talk about, a lot more guests. Austin Hayes is going to join us. Pete Fairbanks is going to join us. It's going to be a fantastic time on YouTube. Oh, I didn't give you guys my homework.
Yeah, we need your
That
pick.
was awful.
The
What in
Rays aren't
world?
playing, so she doesn't
No,
have
the
it.
Rays. Oh my gosh. Hey, all right, Mr. Homer White Sox pick. Like, you're going to give me crap for being.
She's
a
going to go
Rays homer?
Austin Hayes because he's coming on next.
I actually was going to go Austin Hayes.
Nope, can't do it.
So much for knowing that. And
Uh.
you've only known me for like 5 minutes.
No, we've
Oh
known each
my
other for a
gosh.
long time.
I guess we have. We'll figure that out. That's a good tease to later in the show because you're
Yes.
going to see just how long Eric and I have known each other because he used to be a player in the clubhouse I covered. We'll see you on YouTube. Thanks for joining us on Stadium.